Right. Cool. So I'll quickly do some introductions to start. So today, hosting the webinar will be myself. So I am head of operations and business partnering within the student recruitment team. And then along with me today, we have Laura. Laura, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Laura Hancock. I'm the student hire post offer manager. So post offer team, just give you a quick overview. So we pick everything up from offer stage. So would have issued your offer letter, we initiate your pre-employment screening, all of your onboarding documents, and here to support you up until your start date.
Lovely. So the agenda for today then is we'll give you a quick overview of the pre-employment screening, so what to expect, etc., etc. We will give you an introduction into Sterling. So Laura's quickly running through some slides which will show you what to expect when you log onto the Sterling platform. And we've taken a few screen grabs just so you can get familiar with the platform. So we'll showcase the system and then we'll answer some questions. So some of you submitted some questions in advance, so thank you very much for doing that. We will go through those, and then last but not least, we'll share some useful contacts with you, so you've got some email address and some names should you need to reach out to us throughout your onboarding journey at EY. Cool. So
Lovely.
first, who are Sterling? That's the $1,000,000 question.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tousif. Yeah, so as you'll listen from your offer letter, Sterling are our third-party screening provider who conduct all of our pre-employment screening checks. So when you accepted your offer letter, you gave us consent to share those details with Sterling. So before you start with those checks, you will need to verify your identity. So we do for that use a digital identity verification tool called Yoti, which I will talk through shortly. And we have some screenshots just to show you. And you will need to complete an online screening form as well. And that just provides Sterling with consent for them to start those pre-employment screening checks. So throughout the process, we would ask that you ensure that you include all information that's requested and ensure that all of the information that you submit is accurate as well. If we do have incorrect information, it can have an impact on your criminality checks, it can delay those checks, and it can also have an impact on your start date. We do ask that you complete the first link within 3 working days. If you're not able to do that, if you can drop an email across to us at the student offers mailbox, just providing an update as to why you're not able to meet that deadline. And we do recommend that you use Google Chrome as well, just to ensure that everything on the form runs correctly. Once you get to the bottom of that form, you will need to provide an electronic signature. So once you've done that and submitted, that then gives Sterling the go-ahead to continue with those checks.
Thank you, Laura. And can I just ask, what is the importance of joiners providing their e-consent and completing the form?
Yeah, so if you don't complete that e-consent, so it will actually expire after a certain date. So it's 30 days on that link, but those 3 days are really important. And that's sort of just to see that you are initiating those checks. And it's really important that we start those as early as possible to ensure that you do have all your checks in place before your start date.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next slide, please. So just some documents that you'll need to have to hand before you start those checks. So you will need to provide some sort of ID, proof of ID. So you can use your passport document. It could be a driving license. It could be your residence permit. You will also need to provide proof of your current address, and that does have to be dated within the last 3 months. So you can use a bank statement, it could be a utility bill. Sterling will have information as to which documents are acceptable. For your qualifications, so we will have already provided Sterling with the grades and the subjects that you provided on your application form, but we do ask that you upload a copy of your GCSE Maths and English Language, your A-level certificates, and if applicable to the programme, your degree certificate as well. Once those checks commence, Sterling will then reach out to your places of study to confirm those subject and grades. For some, there will be a requirement to provide detail of employment as well. So that will be dependent on whether you're still in study, sort of the length of time you've been out of study, but that will be asked for on the consent form if it's required.
Great, thank you very much. So once you have provided that, as Laura mentioned, you would be invited to complete your digital verification using the Yoti tool. Yoti isn't unique to Sterling, so some people may have used it. In actual fact, I know I used it recently when I was making an application for some financial, like when I wanted to open a bank account, they asked me to use Yoti, so I was surprised that banks also use it. Do you want to talk us a little bit more about Yoti and share any tips, Laura?
Yep, so the next few slides will just sort of go through Yoti. So just really want to give just a bit of an explanation as to what that Yoti tool is used for. So it's for different parts of your check. So initially it's for your identity verification. It's also used for your right to work status. If you have attended one of our EY experience days and we've already taken your right to work, then we won't use the tool for that purpose. And it does also initiate the DBS criminality check as well. It is really important to stress that you don't bypass the tool. There is the option, but please don't do that, as it will put a halt on your checks and we'll need to start the process again. If for any reason you fail the tool, if your documents aren't acceptable, we then have to move to a manual process. So Sterling will be in contact with an evidence of ID form that you'll need to go out to a suitable person to verify those documents for you. To start with, oh, sorry, Tousif, just back on the last slide. Thank you. So to start with, you will have an email which will contain the link. So you just need to click on Begin My Verification Process through to Yoti. It will ask you as well, would you like to confirm your identity using biometrics? Again, please ensure that you do select yes. If you select no, it will fail the tool and again, we'll have to move to a manual process. Brilliant. So once you've selected yes, Yoti will give you two options. So you can either use the Digital ID app or the Yoti web. So once you've selected which method you prefer, you'll need to set up an account with them. So that will be done using your email address and password. You will then be sent an 8-digit email verification code, which you'll need to input to confirm your account. Just on that, just to confirm, that verification code is only valid for 10 minutes. So please do make sure before you start the process that you allow enough time to complete the process fully. And just wanted to know, you do have to use a device that has a camera available, as you'll see in the next couple of slides. So if you have used a device that isn't suitable, you can simply log out and log in from the correct device. So once you have your documents available, you will then be asked to confirm which country those documents were issued in. What Yoti will then do is bring up a list of suitable documents. So you just need to select the document that you have available and click continue. So in the example there, you can see it's selected passport. And you will then be required to take a screenshot of your document. So the Yoti tool will direct you as to how the placement should be. What we would ask at this point, just make sure that it is a clear copy. So just make sure you haven't sort of got fingers over the corners of a document. You haven't sort of got any reflection of that document, because it will fail. But as I say, the tool does sort of advise you if the copy is acceptable. And just on that, so it will give you 3 attempts in total to upload the document. If for any reason after that 3rd attempt isn't acceptable, again, it will revert back to a manual process, and we'll be in contact with you to talk through next steps. And just on your documents, so the Yoti tool will automatically extract the address that's shown on the document. That's why it's really important that you use your current address. If for any reason it hasn't pulled through the address correctly, or it's not showing, you will be able to manually add those details before you click continue. And then you will need to consent to your face being scanned. So again, the Yoti tool will advise you how to do this. So it will ask if you need to move closer or further away from the camera to ensure that that scan is correct. Again, for that, you will have 3 attempts. So once you've scanned all of your documents, you will get to the final screen. It will then confirm that they have everything that's needed to verify your identity. You will then need to tap exit, and then it will ask you just to confirm that you're happy for your details to be shared with Sterling. And at that point, you'll then be redirected to Sterling's candidate hub, and that's where you'll complete the rest of your checks, so adding additional data and the rest of your workflow. And just on the client hub, so I haven't gone into too much detail with the consent form. It is quite self-explanatory, but all of the information that you have input into the Yoti tool will pre-populate into the client hub. So it will just be those additional areas that we're looking for. As I say, if you can, just make sure that you are checking the accuracy of that data. It is really important before you submit everything that all of the information is correct. Lovely. Should we go through useful contacts at the end? I'll just quickly discuss them anyway. So just really which team to reach out to. So the top 2 are available on your offer letter. So if you have any queries around your joiner administration, that does include all pre-employment screening queries as well. That will be the post offer team, which is the EY student offers email address. And if you have any queries around the position or the package that you've been offered, then your contact for the student recruitment team is available on your offer letter. We did recently send out a frequently asked questions document as well on a newsletter, and if you haven't already, you will receive an invite to Onboarder, which is our induction portal where those FAQs will also be available. Sterling do have their own FAQ document as well, which when you log into the client hub, you will be able to have access and look through those.
Thank you very much. So that's a whistle-stop tour on what to expect. What we wanted to give you an opportunity just to see what the Yoti team looks like, what's expected of you, to give you the best chance to have all the documents to hand once you start your pre-employment screening checks. At this point, before we move on to the questions, I just want to reiterate some of the points that Laura made about the importance of getting this done in a timely manner. So you would have seen in all of your offer letters, completion of the pre-employment screening is a condition of your offer of employment. So it's really, really important that once you receive the link, you provide Sterling with all the documents that they have requested, complete all the forms with accurate information, upload all the documents, and if and when they do reach out for further information, that you do provide that in a timely manner, because we do need to ensure that all of your pre-employment screening it's completed before you're able to join. So in some circumstances, if your pre-employment screening is not completed before you join, that could impact your start date. So it's very, very important that you complete everything asked of you from a Sterling perspective. So what we'll do now is I will stop sharing the screen and I will answer some questions. So I know there's some questions that came through previously, so people sent them in advance. So given that that was the ask, they will obviously get priority today. So we'll run through those, and then if we have time, we will answer the questions that have been coming through on the chat as well. So should we start with those then, Sage?
Yeah, no problem. So the first question that has been asked is, how long does the pre-employment screening process take, and when should we expect the process to be complete?
Yeah, so we say as an average around 6 to 8 weeks for the full pre-employment screening. A lot of it is dependent on sort of the documents that have been provided initially, and also responsiveness. So as I said, if you keep a regular check on your emails and just make sure that you are responding to those as quick as possible. For those that are still studying, obviously we have the degree results and A-level results day as well. So obviously the checks can't be completed until those days have happened. So we would expect by that point for the rest of your checks to be completed with just those outstanding.
Okay, thank you. The second question is, I have made an error on the e-consent form, but have submitted it. How do I make changes?
Yes, so if the form's already been submitted, we would ask that you drop the information across to the office team so we can look at that on a case-by-case basis, look at how we resolve that with Sterling. But yeah, an email to the office team with full details.
Great. So the third question we have is, I have uploaded an incorrect document. Can I upload a corrected version?
Yep, so you do have the option to upload documents at any stage just by logging into your Sterling profile. What will happen when you do upload a document, it will trigger to the Sterling team that a new document has been uploaded so they can review that for you.
Great, thank you. So the fourth question, for proof of address, what document can we provide?
Yep, so as we discussed earlier, so it does need to be an official letter, so something like a bank statement, a utility bill. There are certain bills that aren't accepted, as example, a phone bill. So yeah, I would say refer back to the FAQ document, and when you're sort of uploading those documents, again, Sterling will advise what's acceptable.
Right. Fifth question we have here is, I have received my DBS certificate in the post. Is there anything I need to do with this? Do I need to provide a copy to EY?
No, we don't need a copy of that DBS certificate. That is just for your record. We do get notified from Sterling, and we can see from your account when your check is clear.
Next question is, what happens if the pre-employment screening process is delayed?
Yeah, so I think with that, it depends where the delay is. So we would always ask if there's going to be a delay from your side that you email us, let us know sort of deadlines, timelines as you're working to, and why you can't meet those set deadlines. Should there be a delay from Sterling side for any reason for any of those checks, obviously we would work closely with Sterling to try and resolve that, and we'd reach out and sort of keep you updated with the progress.
Thank you. Next question is, we've experienced some difficulty when uploading documents to Yoti. Who should I contact?
Yeah, so for that, if you send an email to the student offers mailbox, just let us know the problem that you've had. If you've got a screenshot, that's great, so we can sort of forward that to the Sterling team. And again, we can look into that for you. We'd need to take those on a sort of case-by-case basis.
Thank you. Next question is, how do we know when the process has been complete?
Yeah, so we don't actually confirm once that process is complete. However, you are able to log into your Sterling profile and it will provide you an update there as to the status of your checks. If your check wasn't complete or there was going to be any delays along the way, we will then be in contact with you again just to advise you of sort of where the delays are lying and to reach out if there's anything we need from you.
Thank you. The next question is, I was not asked for any references during the screening process. Will I be asked for any?
So if you're still in study or you've just finished study, then you won't be asked to provide references. If you have been working for a certain period, we will ask for references then. So again, that will be included on the e-consent form. Just on that, if you are asked to provide employment details, then do please ensure that you provide a suitable contact and the correct start and end dates.
Thank you. The next question is, could you give more guidance on the screening for those who have spent a year outside of the country?
Yep, so when you provide your e-consent form, you do provide your address history. So if you have been outside the country for a year, the Sterling team would automatically initiate an international crim check. So that would automatically get picked up through that e-consent form.
Thank you. The last question here is, if I'm currently employed, may I know at which stage I will need to provide my P45, or is this not required throughout the process?
Yep, so we would reach out probably around 4 weeks before the start of your employment. So it's done through your AmberTrack profile. So you would log into your account and then you would be able to upload either a P45 document or you would complete a starter checklist if that's not available at that point, which we would then submit to the finance team to ensure that you're not emergency taxed.
Great, thank you. There's a couple of additional questions here which might be a bit more relevant to yourself, Tousif. So the first question being, what are some things incoming graduates can do to prepare for starting on the graduate scheme?
Good question. So, I mean, each graduate scheme is different depending on what service line you're going on to, and they'll all require different skill sets. But I think some of the skills that are universal across all will be things like time management, learning a little bit about business etiquette, especially if you've not been in a corporate environment before, soft skills, so the tone of emails and how to liaise with clients, etc. But what we will do is over the next coming months there will be work readiness webinars that our team will be running, so keep an eye out on Onboarder, which you'll obviously all have access to. Through Onboarder, we'll be sending you newsletters, we'll be sending invites to webinars, etc., to get you in the best position possible for you to join us.
Thank you. Second question is, are there any additional checks required for graduates joining on the government and public sector scheme?
Yeah, so some candidates will require further screening, but those won't be initiated until after you join. So some contracts do require further checks, like security clearance, etc., etc. But yeah, we do have an internal vetting team who will contact you should that be required after you join.
Okay. And the third question here is, will there be any follow-up screenings after the initial one with Sterling?
As it stands, we don't do any follow-up screenings, but there is a piece in your contract which I believe says that you must inform EY should anything change. Also, annually we have to all complete declarations, etc., as part of our global compliance. So if anything does change in your personal circumstances, which would have initially not come up on your screening, you do need to notify EY.
Right, thank you. That's all the questions that came in before the webinar today, but I see we've got some live questions, so I'm going to go ahead and share some of those. So whichever's relevant for yourself or Laura. Feel free to chip in. So, first question being, what information does Sterling require or request from previous employers?
So if we do reach out for that information, it's your start and end date. So it's not a full reference, it's just to confirm that you've worked there and the job title as well.
Okay. Will there be a DBS check, and if so, can we receive a copy of it?
Yep, so the DBS is the standard check that we complete. So you will, once that check's completed, you will receive a certificate through the post.
Okay. So I've got someone ask for the ID verification. I was told that someone from student recruitment would reach out and verify my ID in person. Does that mean I still need to get someone else to verify my ID?
Yes, that depends on what's going to be verified. So I believe that people in the student recruitment team, they'll be verifying your right to work only. So your verification for your ID should be done through Sterling. If that has failed and you do need to do a manual verification, you should get it done by someone that you know. But if you don't know anyone that could do that for you, and you're coming in to do your right to work check with a member of our student recruitment team, if you bring the form in for you, they should be able to do that for you as well.
We have a question here that says, I've completed the documents, but I wasn't asked for any qualification certificates. Did I miss something, or is it because I've done a placement at EY previously, so it's not required again?
Yes, so if you've done a placement previously, so for example, if you were on our summer internship program, we would have at that stage already verified your GCSE and your A levels. So for your graduate check, it would just be the degree check.
Okay. Another question we have here is, if you have a student address, will you need to provide evidence of the student address or your home address?
Sorry, do you want to take that one, Tousif? I was just going to speak.
Go for it.
No, okay, lovely, thank you. Yeah, so we always recommend that you put your home address, taking into account the documents that you do need to provide to do that address verification. So yeah, we always say state your home address if you do have just sort of a maybe parent's address, anywhere that you've got your documents registered to. You will be asked to put the other address on your form as well, but do make sure that you state the home address as where you've got the documents available.
Just to elaborate on that, it's really important that you do still provide your university addresses for the purpose of DBS. So if you were at university for 3 years, for example, you'd need to put those dates in as well.
Both. Will we get a Yoti invite after the first Sterling invite? I didn't see Yoti in my first check from Sterling where I submitted proof of address.
The Yoti invite should have been the first invite that was received through. Yeah, if you could drop an email across to the office mailbox, we'll take a look into that for you.
Okay. We have a question here. So in the past week, my university has announced a marking strike. So is it likely that I will graduate without my final grades or with provisional grades? Will this impact my onboarding?
So if you, for whatever reason, grades are going to be delayed, please reach out to your recruiter and also the student mailbox, and then we will talk to you about your scenario. We can't give you an answer here because every scenario is different, but we'll look at each case by case, and then we will let you know what actions, if anything, needs to be taken.
Yeah, somebody asked here that they already have a DBS, so can we provide that, or will one be done anyway?
Yeah, we do need to run that DBS check again. So yeah, we would need to rerun.
We have another question here. So if we don't achieve the predicted A-level grades we applied with, are we still able to continue in the role, or will the offer be rescinded?
So ultimately, there are a number of conditions in your offer, and if one of those conditions, I know for a fact, is that you must be able to prove that you have obtained the grades that you told us you are going to obtain. So that is a condition of your offer. Should that change, we will need to review your offer. So if you think that is going to change, please let us know fairly soon. But we do have a process whereby on A-level results day, we will reach out to you to get your grades, etc., and then they will be verified. But yeah, each case will be reviewed case by case, but what I can say is your offer is conditional to you meeting all requirements that you've told us.
Next question is, what is the next process after fully completing the pre-employment screening check?
So the pre-employment screening is actually part of our broader onboarding. So it's just one element of it, but it's the element where we probably get the most questions, hence this webinar. But our onboarding process is a lot more extensive than that. So aside from the pre-employment screening, the team will also reach out for you if they need documents for your payroll, for example. So you'll be asked to fill out a joiner form, which will have your bank details, your personal details, etc. We'll use all that information to create your HR record, so to speak, so that we can have everything ready for you for day one. So it's really imperative that you complete those forms again in a timely manner, so we can get everything ready for you, so you can get all your access ready, your systems ready, etc. And alongside that, what will be happening is over the next few weeks, our pre-boarding team, our candidate experience team will start reaching out as well. So there'll be a series of webinars, like I said, work readiness webinars for anyone who's doing a professional qualification. The PQ team will also be reaching out to you as well to talk to you about the professional qualifications. So what you'll find is over the summer, you know, the amount of comms that we start sending out to you and your pre-boarding journey will start ramping up now. So yeah, so pre-employment screening is just an element of your onboarding, but there are other elements as well.
Okay. I have another question here. So I've already been sent my pre-employment link from Sterling and have finished my YOTI verification. Is there anything else I need to do?
So at this stage, if you've completed the YOTI steps and you've submitted the consent and you've sort of provided all of the documents, your checks will just be underway. So if there is anything that we require extra or Sterling need, we'll reach out to you via email to request that from you.
Another question here. So I've been asked to show proof of my degree, but not my GCSEs or A-levels. Is this something I will be asked for at a later date?
So we would expect if you haven't completed a previous placement, we would expect GCSE, A-level and degree to be verified. If you have, as we said, done a summer internship before and graduate, then we would just be looking for your degree. Again, if you can email us at the office mailbox, we can just take a look to make sure that everything's in hand and all the checks are underway as they should be.
Thank you. Question from a candidate here that says, I will be flying out next month for 5 weeks. Would that impact any of my pre-employment screening?
Yes, it was yes and no. So yes, it will impact it if you haven't yet started your pre-employment screening, as I'm guessing you'll need documents to start that. So you'll need to have your passport or your driving license or some forms of ID to hand when you do your pre-employment screening, when you start that. Once you've started it, if you've provided everything that you need, then there shouldn't be any problems, because what then Sterling do is they'll start reaching out to your college, school, universities, previous employers, etc. The only time you'll then need to provide documents is if they can't verify something or there's not been a response from either a referee or the college or the university, etc., etc. So you may still be required to provide documents after your initial you've completed your initial form, but provided you've done that, the chance of you needing to provide many more documents is few and far between. But yes, we would recommend, if you are going away, getting it done before you go away.
We have another question here. For applicants that require sponsorship and are doing the in-country application, what timelines are we expecting, and when can we expect to receive our new visas?
So with the sponsorship, we start your application, like formally submit your application 3 months out from the start date, but the team would have started reaching out to you already. So I believe a survey went out to everyone who requires sponsorship within the last 2 weeks. If you haven't, it's really important that you complete that survey. Once that's been done, the immigration team will reach out to you to complete some questionnaires. So yeah, over the next few weeks, you'll start to hear from our various teams, whether that's our immigration team or our people advisory services team. But your application formally will start on the 1st of June. For anyone who is requiring sponsorship, it's very important that from the 1st of June, if you are in the UK, you do not make plans to leave the UK because you have to be in the UK for your visa application to be submitted. And it's really important that you remain in the UK while that's in process until the visa has been issued. And if you are an out of country applicant, so you are applying from another country, it's really important that you remain within that country for the duration of that period as well. I cannot stress that enough, because that will have an impact on your on when your visa is issued.
Thank you. We have a question here. I was invited to start the background checks a few weeks ago. My YOTI verification failed. I was then asked to complete a DBS check and have my identity verified by an appropriate professional, which I have done. I was wondering if there's anything else I need to do with YOTI given the fact that the check failed.
No, so if the check fails through YOTI, as Sterling have done, they've reached out with that form for you to get that manually completed. So as long as you sent that back to Sterling, then the checks will continue.
A question from here that last year I had trouble verifying my GCSE equivalent for my internship after I attended a school outside the UK. If I've already been cleared for the internship, would I be required to prove my GCSE again this year?
No, so if we've already completed that verification for a previous programme, we won't reach out again. It will just be the degree verification.
My name on the passport does not match my application name, so my YOTI verification failed. Can I request this to be verified in person?
If the names differ, to be honest, we do have to look at these on a case-by-case basis to see why it's failed. So what we would ask in that instance, if you can send a copy of your passport to the office mailbox, we'll then have a look at how that verification has been done and sort of the difference in names, and we'll come back to you. But yeah, we need to look at those on an individual basis.
Thank you. Last few questions. I was not redirected to the Sterling Candidate Hub after completing the YOTI process. What should I do to access the next steps?
It should have automatically have taken you through to the Sterling portal. Again, if there is an access issue, if you can send a screenshot in across to us, we can reach out to the Sterling team to find out why you weren't directed correctly.
Here. For the DBS check, it's asked me to get a professional ID verifier who is not related to me. Can any internal EY employee be the verifier for this?
a EY employee can do this for you, but it must be done in person. So any verification that is done, whether that's done by someone at the post office or a GP or whatever, or someone from EY, that must be done in person. And you must bring a minimum of, I think it's 3 documents, isn't it? That it says on the form with you, so we can verify those. So if you reach out to the recruiter, they might be able to accommodate that for you. That's not a problem.
Right. You'll be happy to know. Last and final question. I think this is going back to the ID verification on Yoti and have sent it to Sterling. However, they haven't been redirected to any other additional information entry screen, such as the e-consent. Will there be a separate invite, or should this have triggered immediately? If so, how can I have this resolved?
Yes, so it should have triggered immediately from sort of Yoti across to the Sterling platform. So again, if you can send a screenshot and your details, we'll need to have a look into that, and we'll need to contact Sterling to find out if there was an issue with the login details.
Great, thank you both. That's all the questions that we have on screen today from the webinar. So thank you both.
Right on time. So there may be questions that we didn't get around to, because I can see there's some that haven't yet been published. So if there's anything that hasn't been answered or isn't on the newsletter we've sent or the FAQs that we've sent, you can reach out to the offers mailbox and we'll be able to help. I know one of the ones that people get confused with a lot is predicted grades. Because I know the Sterling system says what is your grade, and a lot of people say, well, I haven't got my grade yet. You can put the predicted grade in there, and that's what will be verified once we know what your grades are, once your results come out. So for anyone who hasn't yet obtained a grade, you can put your predicted grade in there. That's not a problem. So just before I wrap up, just want to say thank you very much for attending. Thank you very much for Laura and Sejal for supporting today. I think the parting message I want to deliver today is it's very, very important that you get all these forms completed in a timely manner. Like I said at the start, your offer of employment is subject to satisfactory and timely completion of your pre-employment screening. So it's very important that this is done and done in a timely manner. So please stick to the deadlines. Please don't think, oh, I'm 6 months out yet or 5 months out from the start date, so I'll do it later on, because some of these checks, particularly in the summer, can take a long time, because as you know, schools, universities, colleges break up for the summer, and we're less likely to get responses back. So it's very, very important that you start your pre-employment screening as soon as you get the invite. Upload all of your documents, any questions, anything that doesn't look right, doesn't feel right, or if you think there's going to be any delays, please reach out to us in advance. Do not wait until middle of end of August, when you're 2 or 3 weeks out from your start date, to let us know that there's an issue with your pre-employment screening. Anything you wish to add, Laura?
No, just as you said, just stay communicating with us, really. Any problems at all, we're always here to help, so please do just feel free to reach out to us at any time.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you, everyone.